Am I the asshole for not contacting my SIL about our niece's period and instead handling it myself? Throwaway account. Sorry if this is weird. My wife and I are in our mid-20s. My wife's older sister Kate has a daughter named Peyton, fake name. Kate has to travel for work every few weeks, so Peyton stays either with us or with her grandparents. We had her earlier this week. I had the day off, but my wife had to work, so Peyton and I were just having a chill day around the house. She went to the bathroom and shortly after started crying, which freaked me out. I went to the door and asked if she was sick or hurt. She said no. After some questioning, I was able to deduce that she started her period and just didn't know what was going on. I made sure she got decent new clothes, showered, and such, and then explained as best as I could that she was going through something natural. I got her some of my wife's pads and explained how to use them. She was clothed and clean for every interaction. I didn't really feel the need to inform her mother. I figured Peyton would text her or call her or tell her when she got picked up the next day. My wife got home and explained more things, and apart from feeling physically unwell, Peyton did fine. Yesterday, 2 days after she got picked up, Peyton's mom called me, absolutely screaming me for A, not calling her immediately, and B, not waiting for my wife or another woman to explain things to her. It's not uncommon for Kate to be explosive, but this was extreme even for her. She's saying I'm inappropriate, a creep, and that Peyton doesn't feel safe staying at our house unless my wife is home. Which I don't believe is true. Peyton and I get along great. She reminds me of when my own tomboy sisters were tweens. Did I do something wrong? Am I the asshole for not calling Kate and not letting a woman handle this? I am very impressed at how well you handled it, and even explaining it how to use product. She was probably mortified and scared, but it sounds like you were level, supportive and kind. More men and in the world need to handle these situations like you. A father posted not too long ago about going off on his daughter for asking period-related questions and being scared. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. What you did was ensure Peyton sees this as a normal bodily function. Nothing to hide or be ashamed of. It would have been better to leave her stranded on the toilet until a woman came by. That's a weird message. Your SIL is an R for not teaching her daughter basic biology. Sounds like you handled the situation perfectly. Not the asshole. Her mom should have already explained and prepared this to her daughter. If Peyton had wanted to tell her mom immediately, she could have. It's not like she had a seizure or allergic reaction. I don't see why the mom feels like she needed to know immediately. The only situation where I think a phone call would have been warranted immediately was if Peyton couldn't calm down. Or if Peyton is like absurdly young. Not the asshole. Peyton's mom is the problem. It's not typical. Menstruation starts early in puberty. There are signs months beforehand: breast buds, hair growth, sweat changes, skin changes, body shape changes. Peyton should have been informed in advance of what a period is, why it happens, how to manage it, common symptoms, etc. It wasn't your news to tell. It was Peyton's, and if she didn't want to tell her mom, that was her right. You were the caregiver at the time, and sounds like you did a great job. Not the asshole her mum is though. My daughter lives between 2 houses, and from the age of 10 I gave her a little kit just in case she started, with clean knickers and pads in. I showed her how to do it all and explained what would happen. How has her mum not said anything to her before this? Not the asshole, but her mom is. Seriously, you should have these convos with your children around 8-yo. Girls can start their periods as young as 8-9. Her mom should have been having regular conversations, or at least having Peyton read book about puberty. Her mom should have been looking out for signs that her body was changing. This is 110 on her mom. You were the innocent bystander who got stuck in a situation you shouldn't be in but did amazingly well. Peyton is lucky to have you and your wife. Her mom. That's a different story. She left Peyton to fend for herself. Not the asshole. Should you have just let her sit there crying and bleeding onto the furniture? How old is Peyton that this was so shocking to her? Poor kid. I mean, I get being startled by it. I sure was. But I knew what was going on when it happened. I also doubt that your niece thinks you're a creep. She's probably just a little embarrassed that her uncle had to handle girl stuff. She'll get over that. Especially if you pretend you have no memory of the event. SIL is a moron. She's turned this ordinary, normal part of life into something creepy and gross that we have to freak out about. Not the asshole at all. You did good. Not the asshole. While I can understand wanting to be informed that your kid just started her first period, I would be happy knowing that she was with someone who had needed supplies and was able to explain to her how to use them. This is also why I think sex ed should be mandatory before puberty. That way kids aren't freaking out when their bodies change and can get needed knowledge about it. Not the asshole. You actually did a great job. I can't believe Kate wanted her kid to suffer until a woman came and talked to her. What does she think single fathers do? Men can know about periods too and talk about routine without being a creep. Not the asshole. Thank you for having the emotional maturity to share your knowledge of the menstrual cycle with Peyton. Your SIL is a truly screwed up individual. Wanting her child to sit bleeding without comfort until your wife got home. People like your SIL are the reason that there is negative stigma around a natural occurrence in a young woman's life. Not the asshole, you didn't do anything wrong. And the fact Peyton is of an age to get periods but her mom hasn't told her anything about them is kind of weird. It sounds like your SIL is feeling guilty for not preparing her daughter and is taking it out on you. Not the asshole. The mum wanted you to leave her bleeding on the loo until your wife got home. Wow. You sound like a kind, empathic, knowledgeable uncle. It was not your responsibility to tell Kate. Peyton has a voice and can speak about her own situations. Not the asshole. Your sis had her entire life to teach her daughter about her period. Why'd she prefer the kid sit in blood until wife came home? Not the asshole. If she's calling you creepy for discussing something completely natural and normal and making it into something it's not, then she's the creep IMO. Not the asshole. She's old enough to tell her mum herself. Your wife told the mum when she picked Peyton up. But she only flipped later when she learned that you informed her niece. Bizarre. Can you imagine how scarred this poor child would have been if his reaction would have been, "Okay, just stay in the bathroom until your mom gets here, she'll explain everything." You did great op. Not the asshole. There's so much justified criticism that men don't have a clue about periods. And here we have a dude who helped about as well as he could. And gets screamed at for being a pervert. Women, this is really not the message you want your sisters, daughters, mothers delivering to men doing the right thing.